Andy, Warren and Stuart Watson at Portman Road, where Ipswich Town have lost 1-0 to Cambridge Stew, and it feels very much like today is the day that the playoff dream has died.
Yeah, we've been sort of clinging on to the hope, haven't we? I think most people were getting their heads around it after the Portsmouth and the Oxford draws, and then they played so well against Plymouth last weekend, and you're thinking maybe, just maybe, they could put together those wins, but today is deflating. It's a bit of a reality check. It's a 1-0 defeat to Cambridge, and just didn't really happen for Ipswich, did it? I think 10 minutes into this game, the tone was set. It felt like it was going to be another one of those days. If you remember back to the Gillingham home game here, where an organised team were going to sit behind the ball, be difficult to break down, were going to be physical and a threat from set pieces. Ipswich found a way to win against Gillingham, however many weeks ago that was. Today they didn't, and didn't really deserve a whole lot more from this game. Disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think frustration is the word I would use. Ipswich had chances. Cambridge had just as many chances. Many ways a fairly even contest. So I think anything more than a draw wouldn't have been fair on Cambridge. But I was quite impressed with Cambridge, if I'm honest. I think they came here and they will probably go away feeling like they've put in a perfect away performance in front of 26,000 people, which is something they're certainly not used to regularly. So they'll be very pleased with this, just in the same way that Ipswich are going to be incredibly frustrated by it, because it's a chance has gone. But I think when you've left yourself needing perfection for so far out from the end of the season, there was always going to be a potential stumble, and they've come across that stumbling block today.
Yeah, Kieran McKenna in his pre-match press conference on Friday afternoon outlined a sort of best case scenario and a worst case scenario for this game. If we can get our in possession game going, if we can do all the things that we've been doing right, we've got a good chance of winning. But he outlined, we're playing against a back four, which we've had some problems against before. Going back to that Gillingham game, they're a physical, well organised team that maybe they're coming to Portman Road having secured their safety, thinking, let's just enjoy ourselves in front of a big crowd, and it was the latter of those scenarios which panned out today. Yes, credit to Cambridge. In Mark Bonner, they've clearly got a very talented young coach, as Ipswich have, but Ipswich weren't really at the races today, let's be honest. I thought it was just a step down from everything we've seen of late. I thought it was a bit passive. I thought the tempo was too slow. It was sloppy, so many unforced errors. And just couldn't get themselves going today, especially in that first half. Signs that they could maybe get themselves going again after the break, but gave away too many of those free kicks, and Cambridge were a threat from them, and they scored from one. And once Cambridge had the lead to protect, it didn't really look like Ipswich were going to get back into it.
No, there were moments in the final 10 minutes when there were moments of frustration, appealing to referees for penalties, a ball in the net where I think it was Cameron Burgess, we think, has put it in the end there, but Aluko pretty clearly offside from James Norwood's flick on, so no complaints there. But for me, this Ipswich team falls down in two areas. We know they don't score bucket loads of goals, but if teams can stop Ipswich's right side, Town are in trouble, and Cambridge did that today. I thought they limited Wes Burns and Janoy Donasian there. And then if Ipswich aren't having thrust through the middle of the pitch to a really, really good standard, those two things in conjunction just aren't going to produce a winning performance for Ipswich, and I think Cambridge managed to get on top of that today.
Yeah, it's a reminder to me that the three areas that we've been talking about Ipswich need to improve going forward is a bit more physicality in central midfield. Tom Carroll came in for Backinson today and again looked a little bit lightweight and ring rusty. Left midfield, Dominic Thompson, I praised him after the Plymouth game, but I don't think he's really pushing his cause to be the answer to that left midfield next season. And James Norwood sort of huffed and puffed a little bit up front today. You always get that fire from James Norwood, but he didn't really channel it in the right way today. He was getting involved in fights and off the ball things that he didn't really need to get involved in at times. So I think that's a reminder that there's three areas positionally that Kieran McKenna needs to improve, and just generically set pieces and just that bit of ugly physicality. Ipswich, when they're good, they're very good, but as Kieran McKenna said, here you've got to find other ways to win games. You're not always going to be at your pretty footballing best every game, and there's a reason teams like Rotherham and Wycombe find their way to get out of this division. I think Ipswich just need to find some of the bit more of the uglier stuff to go with the good stuff next season.
Yeah, there's certainly a formula for this league, isn't it? And so far, Ipswich haven't found it. We're talking as if the season is over. It really feels like it is. 5 games to go, a near impossible task from this point. But that's 3 attempts at League One promotion now. Ipswich still sit 9th, having finished in that position or thereabouts in the other 2. So they have not found a formula for League One football yet.
No, they haven't. And for all the talk about sort of not beating the top 6, 7 sides or whatever, they've now played all 4 of the teams that came up from League One last season, and they've not beaten a single one of them in 8 games. 4 points from a possible 24. So you're not going to finish in the playoffs with that sort of record, are you? So just a little bit of a reality check for Ipswich Town today. Just brought us all back down to earth after the high of that Plymouth game last weekend. 5 games now for McKenna, maybe to start experimenting a little bit, looking at a few things, formulating his plans for next season. Tricky game at Shrewsbury next weekend, who have just started to find a little bit of form of late. So there we go. Time for us to get our heads around another season in League One, unfortunately, isn't it? But we'll see you next weekend.